Coming up, Yapen's Taiwanese opera troupe sees lunar July to pass on the Buddha's teachings. We learn how Taiwan's aviation agency is trying to make sense of the TransAsia Airways crash in Penghu. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Helen Liao. Thank you for joining us. The four-day blessing ceremony in Banqiao, New Taipei City concluded this past weekend, where members of the public took the chance to donate their bamboo coin banks while attending the event. Yafen's Taiwanese opera troupe also put on several performances throughout the four-day ceremony to the delight of all those in the audience. Overall, thousands of people participated in the blessing ceremonies and walk away with the right mindset regarding lunar July.
Marking the start of the ceremony, volunteers hold lotus heart lamps as they enter the venue here in Banqiao, New Taipei City. While Yafen Taiwanese opera troupe brings to life the words Buddha said to his disciples before entering parinirvana.
In Follow the Buddha's bequeathed teachings, before the Buddha entered parinirvana, he asked his disciples to abide in the fourfold mindfulness, the six parameters, and the Noble Eightfold Path.
Attracting audiences far and wide, the hall is filled to the brim with people even sitting in the aisles. Some audience members opt to take part in the blessing ceremony in the dining hall, watching the performances through a live feed. In addition, an outdoor venue was set up so more people could participate in the blessing ceremony. With the high temperatures outside, a water atomizer system was set up to help keep the audience cool.
After watching the performance, I feel every one of us should go out and advocate the right beliefs, right ideals, and positive thinking. This way, we can further spread Taiwan's love and truth to more people.
Volunteers also put on a moving performance depicting the struggles of the Dharma masters. At its completion, the volunteers' formation changes into a white ox, symbolizing the strength of the Dharma master's vow.
Master Zheng Yan and other Dharma masters at the Jingsi abode shoulder the burden of all sentient beings, much like the white ox carrying a load on its back. I hope all those in Tzu Chi can learn from the Dharma masters to be their own white ox.
At the end of the performance, Tzu Chi volunteers thank the opera troupe for their performance by giving each member a small token of appreciation. With words of gratitude shared, tears and laughter seal the bond between the two organizations. Meanwhile, Wu Li-chun is finally able to donate her filled bamboo coin bank.
Although I can't make big donations, I can make small donations. Drops of water will eventually become a river.
A longtime supporter of the bamboo coin bank, today, Ye Chun-yo has brought her 15th coin bank to donate.
It's within my means. I can do good deeds on a daily basis.
At the blessing ceremonies in Banqiao, New Taipei City, one of the more popular activities was to donate filled bamboo coin banks. The other was an electronic aphorism program, which came in 3 languages, Chinese, Taiwanese, and English.
I got, be grateful always for everything and everyone at every moment. It's exactly what I wished for in my heart.
At the age of 7, Guo Weiqi's arms and legs were amputated due to an illness.
When we are honest and grounded in what we do, our minds will be stable.
With the Jingsi aphorism striking a chord, Guo hopes to let go of her pains and sorrows as she walks the Bodhisattva path. The decorations outside were also carefully planned, like the white ox, which represents Master Zheng Yan's wish for her disciples to shoulder Tzu Chi's 4 missions with the strength and spirit of an ox.
Bamboo in Taiwanese also sounds like virtue, so this is also a ground to cultivate virtue.
The red lanterns along the pathway welcoming the audience represents the blessings of the 7th lunar month, as volunteers hope residents learn to live each day filled with gratitude.
Besides members of the public, the blessing ceremonies held at the Tzu Chi Banqiao grounds were also joined by staff members of the Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital, as well as educators. Thanks to the event, everyone had the chance to immerse themselves in the Buddha's teachings and reflect on their past behavior. At the Ciji Banqiao Grant, Yafen, a well-known performer of Taiwanese opera, puts on a performance based on the story of the Buddha's final words. Among those in the audience watching are principal and experts in the education field. The story was based on Buddha's last words to his disciple Ananda, reminding him of the impermanence of life and encouraging him to seize every chance to absorb Dharma. It was a moving performance and one that left deep impression on the educators.
The performance inspired members of the education field that in order to change those around us, we need to change ourselves first. Taking care of our students is the best way to change ourselves for the better.
Through watching the performance, the audience gained a better understanding of the Buddha's wisdom and compassion. Furthermore, the performance also reminded educators to take the Dharma to heart and reflect on their past behavior.
If we can treat our students with a positive attitude and a compassionate heart, I believe we can achieve world peace.
The best way to teach our students is not using authority. I think the performance has inspired all of us to educate our students with a different approach.
Under the guidance of Taipei Tzu Hospital Superintendent Zhao Youchen, staff members at the hospital slowly walked into the venue with prayer lamps in their hands.
The purpose of the event is to give members of the public a better understanding of the Buddha's wisdom and compassion. I think the performance has benefited our medical staff.
Prior to the performance, staff members of the Taipei Tzu Hospital prayed for a world free from disasters and vowed to safeguard the physical and emotional health of patients through their expertise and compassion.
When we are curing a patient, we are not only dedicating ourselves, but also walking into their lives. Before the Buddha passed away, he seized every moment to pass on the Dharma.
Sometimes, due to different circumstances, a mother has to terminate her pregnancy. Knowing the emotional struggle she may go through, we'll make sure she has plenty emotional support every step of the way.
Thanks to the performance, this group of medical staff who works tirelessly to alleviate sickness can temporarily put their jobs aside and immerse themselves in the Buddha's teachings. More than 20 days have gone since a series of gas explosions ripped through Kaohsiung, Taiwan. As part of its relief efforts, Tzu volunteers have been distributing hot meals to the homes of the blast survivors, a service that continues to this day. As well as the volunteers have been preparing red bean soup for those recuperating in the city's hospitals.
Every day around lunchtime, Tzu volunteers gather before going their separate ways to distribute hot meals to disaster victims. Despite the scorching hot weather, no one, not even the older volunteers, feels tired.
I'm not tired. It is always a joy to serve others. We are giving without asking for anything in return.
70-year-old Cai Xiuxi lives close to the scene of the gas explosions. To help her community, she now delivers vegetarian meals to the victims' families every day.
I am happy to see them. They are always smiling and are grateful for our efforts. I think it's worth it.
Seizing every opportunity to give, the elderly volunteers contribute to charity while warming the stomachs of victims. Meanwhile, another group of volunteers have prepared red bean soup for hospitalized blast victims.
You're still silently accompanying them. It is moving to see.
Since I haven't had enough time to come see them, I have prepared some red bean soup for them instead. The soup can help promote red blood cell growth.
Since the gas explosions, Tzu volunteers have been there for the victims. This time, they come with sweet red bean soup to warm hearts.
Every day I come to chat with them and to see that he is recovering.
Seeing how the city and its people are recovering and learning to smile once again, Tzu Chi volunteers have all the reward they could ask for.
It has been more than a month since TransAsia Airways flight GE222 crashed in Penghu, Taiwan. This was a tragic incident and one that highlighted for the necessity for the aviation industries to learn from its lesson and evolve. Next, we take a look at how the Civil Aeronautic Administration as well as the Aviation Safety Council are taking steps to safeguard against such tragedies from occurring in the future.
On July 23rd, after a delay caused by inclement weather, TransAsia Airways flight GE222 finally took off from Kaohsiung, Taiwan. However, the plane crashed while attempting to land in Penghu Island, claiming 48 lives.
After missing its initial approach, the pilot asked the control tower's permission to make a go-around, but lost contact with air traffic controllers during his second attempt to land the plane.
On behalf of TransAsia Airways, I sincerely apologize to everyone here that such a tragedy has taken place.
What went wrong? What caused the plane to crash?
My current understanding is that we have found one of two black boxes.
The discovery of the black boxes, which recorded the cockpit voice and the in-flight data, was key to unraveling what caused the TransAsia Airways flight to crash in Penghu. On August 1st, the Aviation Safety Council announced its preliminary findings.
The pilot had deactivated the autopilot system. Ma Gong Tower had issued clearance to land on the runway. However, the aircraft deviated left from its landing approach at Ma Gong and hit a windbreak. This was the aircraft's last recorded location.
Large pieces of engines, vertical tail wing, and heat exchangers scattered across the crash site suggest the severe damage sustained by the aircraft on impact. Furthermore, debris and broken foliage also indicate the aircraft may have hit a windbreak 200 meters from the crash site before it hit the ground.
Tree branches were all broken or damaged, which suggests that there was significant impact force on collision. The left engine's intake valve was filled with tree branches, which could have hindered the engine's ability to generate power. If the aircraft was attempting to complete the going around, this would have affected its acceleration.
However, the Aviation Safety Council's report only provided factual data, leaving many questions unanswered, such as why the plane deviated from its course and what exactly happened in those final moments.
We want to tell the other pilots that this was a very experienced pilot, whose decision ultimately led to an unfortunate tragedy. Thus, what lesson have our pilots learned from this experience?
Or will be too late to wait for the Council's final findings before making any improvements to flight safety standards. Hence, the Civil Aeronautics Administration launched its own investigation into TransAsia Airways aircraft maintenance.
We're conducting a comprehensive investigation to look into the organization itself, its management, training, and flight maintenance. We will also be examining the aircraft's operating conditions and flight operations on board. Once we have concluded our investigation, we will make recommendations to TransAsia Airways on areas of improvement.
The CAA convened a meeting with 12 local airline companies to discuss new requirements during takeoffs and landings. While current landing standards are in line with international standards, all parties, however, agreed to adopt stricter safety standards for takeoff and landing during inclement weather. Each airliner needs to submit a new report for the CAA's evaluation.
According to the aircraft flight operation regulations, because each airline company operates differently, has varying levels of manpower and different training standards, they each have to make their own revisions. Once they have revised their flight operations manual, they have to submit it for our approval.
Apart from determining the cause of the crash, what's more important is to learn from the event and ensure such a tragedy does not repeat itself. Only by taking stricter safety measures will we be guaranteed a safe flight home.
After the July 31st Kaohsiung gas explosions, the mayor of the city, Penghu, has ordered all petrochemical pipelines buried beneath the city to be cut and removed for the sake of citizen safety. However, as the petrochemical industry is the backbone of Taiwan's economic, is it really so easy to sever such a tie? We find out in today's series on Taiwan's petrochemical industry.
What is the future of Taiwan's petrochemical industry after it caused the massive gas explosions in Kaohsiung?
The petrochemical industry is intimidating our citizens every day. They are constantly living in fear. I simply cannot allow such an industry to continue here.
However, the industry is also the backbone of Taiwan's economy. Can the nation really afford to do without it?
The petrochemical industry helps mix our clothes and any sort of containers, so there is no way we can just shut it down. We can only think of ways to make it safer. We just can't shut down all the refineries because of an accident.
Though the petrochemical industry may be despised by everyone in Taiwan, people cannot live without it. Statistics show that the industry makes up 25% of the nation's overall export, even higher than that of the prized semiconductor industry.
If we were to shut down the petrochemical industry, Taiwan's economy would collapse.
So how does one balance economic development, environmental conservation, and public safety?
Of course, we do still need a proper petrochemical industry, but we need to evaluate if we really need so many low-end processing plants. Can we upgrade to high-end plants? The government must establish a fitting policy.
The petrochemical industry helped launch Taiwan's economy, but must also be constantly upgraded and renovated. When the fifth naphtha cracking plant was built in Kaohsiung in 1990, the government promised that it would be relocated by 2015. But with less than 18 months left, no relocation plans have been discussed. It was not until after the Kaohsiung disaster that the Ministry of Economic Affairs decided to establish a petrochemical industrial park.
Behind me is the reclaimed land of the Southern Star project, which could be the site for the new industrial park. All petrochemical refineries and plants in Kaohsiung City would have to move here.
If the government truly wants to develop such an industrial park, the environment evaluation process, filing for permit, and building new plants alone will take at least 6 years.
Having been surrounded by refineries for half a century, will Kaohsiung citizens be safe with the new proposal?
The pollution caused by these plants will still be carried by the wind to not only nearby communities but residential areas several kilometers away.
Whether the solution is to upgrade all petrochemical pipelines or relocate all refineries, the industry remains highly polluting. Meanwhile, experts predict that the planet's petroleum and natural gas, the raw materials of the petrochemical industry, will be depleted within half a century, which will then render all refineries and plants useless. The future belongs to renewable energy. Perhaps it is time to end men's dependence on fossil fuels and focus on sustainable development. Only then might we be able to live without the petrochemical industry.
Though it has been more than 9 months since Typhoon Haiyan struck the Philippines, many survivors remain homeless. To help, the Tzu Chi Foundation has been building prefabricated homes in Sansha. Today, 480 homes have been completed and delivered to the ancient survivors. The remaining 1,520 homes are slated to be completed before November. To help realize this difficult goal, nearly 300 volunteers showed up every day to help with the prefabrication. These volunteers come from all walks of life, including staff of DaAi TV and Tzu Chi Care recipients.
Here in Sansha, volunteers are busy making prefabricated homes, going to the Philippines to help those displaced by Typhoon Haiyan. Even an employee of DaAi TV is giving up his weekend to support the good cause.
Though we may not be related to the disaster victims in the Philippines, knowing that there will be safer shelter in this home that I helped build makes me very happy. At least I can be of service to them.
We plan to build 500 homes every month, half of which will be the 20 square meters, while the other half is the 26 square meters, so 250 units in each size.
In order to reach the goal, nearly 300 volunteers show up every day. Tzu Chi Care recipient Mr. Lin immigrated from the Philippines 30 years ago. After his family ran into financial trouble 5 years ago, his 3 children have relied on Tzu Chi's aid to continue their schooling. Now he is here with 2 of his children to reciprocate.
I've been following the news on the Philippines, so I'm deeply saddened. Here we have a home to sleep in and food to eat, but they have nothing because of the disaster.
For the disaster victims, men and women come together and dedicate themselves selflessly to turn out homes that will protect and shelter.
As Mid-Autumn Festival is fast approaching, Malacca Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia gather at the local Jingsi Hall to make mooncakes to raise funds for a new Tzu Chi middle and elementary school. To spread the news of the charity sale far and wide, one Tzu Chi volunteer decided to sell the mooncakes at her store. Furthermore, many companies not only purchased the tree to show their support, but also asked the volunteers to donate their purchases to those in greater need. In the past 11 days, Malacca Tzu Chi volunteers in Malaysia have made 35,000 mooncakes for charity. From the filling to the packaging, every step has been filled with love.
Many businesses are very supportive of the charity sale and hope to be a part of it.
The purpose of the charity sale is to raise funds for a new Tzu Chi middle and elementary school. To show their support, besides purchasing mooncakes, many companies ask the volunteers to donate their purchased mooncakes to underprivileged families.
It is more blessed to give than to receive. I think donating these boxes of mooncakes to those in greater need is a good way to help.
To further spread the reach of the charity sale, Tzu Chi volunteer Chen Yufang decided to sell some of the mooncakes at her store.
It is not an easy task to build a Chinese school on such a large piece of land. By selling these mooncakes at my store, I can not only inform the public on what Tzu Chi is doing, but also inspire their compassionate hearts.
I'm very supportive of Tzu Chi's educational methods, so I want to be a part of this charitable event.
Purchasing mooncakes during this time is for a good cause. It is very meaningful.
Through their purchase of mooncakes, the public is spreading their love to the less fortunate and helping fund a new Tzu Chi middle and elementary school. We go back to Taiwan at the end of the show. Some 2,000 people from across the country gather at the Hsinchu County Stadium to attend the 2014 National Recycling Volunteer Knowledge Contest hosted by the Environmental Protection Administration. The purpose of the contest is to spread environmental awareness far and wide. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.